but one that we know he was incredibly proud of. Over the 30 years, he built a thriving company, not only for his own benefit, but selflessly for the benefit of all those he worked with, creating a legacy which we will cherish and endeavor to uphold well into the future. Bart's consistently positive outlook was one of his many gifts. He had the ability to make even the most daunting situations bearable. And being the eternal optimist he was, always saw humor as a tonic in every situation. His inner strength, courage, and humor never faltered throughout. I personally could never have asked for a better mentor, and I'm proud to call him not just a colleague, but a friend, who has always been there to offer guidance and support in every situation. And I'm sure that I echo the sentiments of many people here today. Bart always had a passion for wine, not just for drinking it, but for cultivating the grapes and producing his very own wine from those grapes. There were some good vintages and some not so good vintages. And I always remember a story he once told me when he had just started his winemaking journey many years ago. He had an international supplier from Italy out visiting and had invited the guest over to his home for dinner. During the course of the dinner, he thought he'd treat this guest to a tasting of his latest vintage. On tasting the wine, the Italian gentleman said that unfortunately he didn't even think it would make good balsamic vinegar. But Bart's positive outlook always triumphed, and he was never deterred from his winemaking passion. In actual fact, I was fortunate enough to recently taste his 2019 vintage, which I must say is particularly good. His amazing depth of knowledge, charisma, and passion for life is echoed in everything he did and accomplished. The example is set of always being honest, no matter the cost, being kind wherever possible, and always to consider the bigger picture. I will forever be grateful for. Bart's guidance, compassion, and leadership set a solid foundation from which we can only grow from strength to strength. We have lost an amazing person, a devoted family man, a remarkable leader, a colleague, and a good friend, whom we will forever miss.
Beautiful.
Walter.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. All right. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us and celebrating in Bart's life and his legacy. So I've asked myself the question, how do I honor a man as incredible as Bart? How can I begin to show my respect and express my gratitude for having the privilege, of knowing his beautiful soul? For the past few weeks, I've repeatedly asked myself these questions. And the answer I finally came up with was doing something that Bart was always so good at doing. And he encouraged me to do, and that's deliver a speech. So, as you know, all of me, I don't do well with speeches, so this is what I'm going to do. Try to deliver it how he would. So, this is a tribute to a great man, a husband, father, mentor, and most of all, a friend to all of us. So I stand before you so that I can share how Bart touched my life, as I know he touched yours. Bart taught me many life lessons, but not by pushing his opinions, but by sharing his life experiences and by example. Bart always said, you know, keep it fun. Even if this meant being the last at a party at 4 a.m. at the bar of the hotel, when you know you've got to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to be able to go see clients. Stamina, don't know where he got it from. I still also wondered if it was a bluff, a poker face, but he truly actually did not need any sleep. So, he was always one to hit the dance floor. Some of which have got special rhythm, like myself, but this never seemed to bother him. Yeah. Focus on the positive. Bart always taught me to focus on the positive, but again, not by his opinion, but by the example that he led. So a person has two choices, and Bart always chose the positive one. And look at it from the angle of a positive in something or someone. Share what you have. Bart was always very generous in what he did, whether it was sharing his time or what he had to share. Help others to help themselves. So, Joran, this is the one that I'm stealing from your speech. So recently, Joran shared something with us which was so true, and it actually touched me, where it's Bart's sort of philosophy on life. And here it goes. So there's two types of players. You get the finite player, and you get the infinite player. I did tweak this a little bit, Joran. So the finite player is someone who creates wealth, status, and power for themselves, which eventually dies with them as their game comes to an end. The infinite player is someone who teaches others how to continue the game of life and pass on the baton, to teach, help, and create wealth for knowledge for others, so they can also continue the game of life and teach others. So the infinite player, this was truly Bart's philosophy.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, like me, angry with life, how that feels like you've been cheated and taken away. Someone so special, someone so positive, influential, kind, and inspirational, who did so much good and help. So the next question I asked myself, how do you keep Bart's memory alive? And it's simple. We can remember and live by these important life values that he taught each and every one of us, and teach others what he taught us. Bart, we love, and we miss you. You'll always remain in our hearts. Thank you.
It's never easy going last. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for making the effort to be here today to celebrate Bart's life. I also want to say thank you so much to those that have joined the link at short notice. We really appreciate it. I'm going to say a few words, and after that we'll play a video of some of Bart's memories. And following that, we invite you to stay and enjoy some snacks with us and some more drinks, and really just enjoy the afternoon with us as a special day. Thank you. So when I sat down to write something for today, for once I was at a loss for words. This should have been his retirement speech, not his memorial speech. Also, how do I sum up my feelings of Bart into a few short minutes, saying something meaningful and powerful that we don't already know or hasn't been said in the last 2 months? So, when in doubt, you start at the beginning. Born on the 6th of August 1950 in Gardens, Cape Town, to Marinus and Johanna Dus. Bart grew up in Red House in the Eastern Cape with his parents and his 2 younger siblings, later attending Grey High School in PE. After matriculating in 1967, Bart studied engineering at the University of Port Elizabeth for 6 months and then set off for America on an exchange program for a year. Returning from the US in 1970 at age 20, Bart went off to the Commandos for 6 months. Thereafter, he started his first job at Shatterproof while studying at college. In 1976, at age 26, Bart and Tara Henstra got married, joining 2 families who had been close friends for years. And after traveling overseas for about 2 years, Bart and Tara settled back in Cape Town in 1978, when he began working at Albrecht Machinery. And in December of that year, they became proud parents to their firstborn Renske. Almost 3 years later, in November 1981, Bart and Tara welcomed their son Joran into this world. Whilst enjoying the juggle of career and parenthood, and with strong support from Tara, Bart continued his career at Albrecht and began carving his name within the industry, and at the same time forming great business relationships and lasting friendships that would last and span over 3 decades. In December of 1991, and after 13 years at Albrecht Machinery, Bart and Tara's business, Dust Food Systems, was born. And so started the growth of their family business, from initially selling just freezers to representing 14 agencies with a diversified product range almost 30 years later. He was a dedicated and supportive son and brother to his late brother Peter and his sister Marty, a loving and committed husband to Tara, an uplifting, proud and caring father to Renske and Joran and their spouses, and a fun and exceptionally proud grandfather to Sam.
Yeah.
But his dedication, support, love and commitment didn't stop at family. He was also the most remarkable boss, mentor, colleague and friend to his staff. His patience and his genuine interest to see someone grow and succeed was just so inspiring. He had this wonderful ability to see the potential in someone long before that individual could see it themselves or realize it themselves, always open to giving someone a chance. He made it his own personal goal to bring out the best in each of us, but also by providing the space in the company and the platform to do it in. And he did it, and he got it right by leading alongside us, not from the top. I've always thought that Bart had the perfect formula for mentoring. It really was one of his talents. Just the right amount of guidance, with the right amount of freedom to think for ourselves and make what we felt was the right decision. Yet at the same time being mindful to not harm our own or the company's reputation. Without him saying it, you would always know when to stop and change course. He had the subtle way of letting you know. Maybe it was something to do with his raised eyebrows, enlarged eyes, pursed lips, followed by the trademark chuckle. Actually, not subtle at all. Each one of us and our team that worked with him are testament to the success of his mentoring. As a business owner, he was one with the highest integrity, but the by-the-book man, the toughest competition, yet the kindest gentleman. A sociable, fun businessman whose passion was the industry he worked in, but so were his clients. He was not your typical salesman, just in it to make the sale. He was truly interested and invested in understanding his client's business and needs to know how he could enhance their business by providing not only equipment and processes to do it, but ensuring that we as the company were providing the best service at all times. In the world of business, isn't that just the best and ultimate legacy to leave behind? And to say that he did it alone would be a bit unfair. He succeeded in this because he had the biggest supporter in Tara. I first met Bart and Tara 19 years ago at age 23. Yes, I look good for my age. I interviewed for the role of receptionist. The company consisted of just 4 staff at that time. Bart was the sales department, Fozia was spares, Tara was finance, and Kevin was the engineering department, soon to be followed by Mornay, who would join soon after me. I could immediately see that this was a small but special team to be part of. I needed to get that job. Plus, I'd also just left my parents home in PE and I had no money. Fortunately, 2 things counted in my favor, which I believe sealed the deal. One, I had a Dutch connection, having just au paired in Holland. And two, I was from the Eastern Cape. This would later prove to be a very strong swaying factor for Bart, I realized, as Walter and Sean would eventually also join the team, also from the Eastern Cape. At 23, I knew very little about business, the poultry industry, or myself, but quickly learned what was important to Bart and some of his fundamental rules, which made him not only a successful businessman, but an overall most remarkable man. Always stick to your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're going to get back to someone, do it. Be honest, even if it means telling a customer you don't have the right answer for them at that moment. Make time for yourself and your loved ones. Work hard, but play hard too. Have fun, enjoy what you do, laugh a little or a lot, and be good to others. It was this goodness and selflessness to others that just made him this unique soul. When I got dumped and kicked to the curb, knowing no one in Cape Town 3 months after arriving, Bart was there first to offer me a place to stay and furniture from their storage. Some months later, Bart arrived back in the office one afternoon with keys to a red MG. He was ecstatic and so proud of this car, the closest he would get to his ultimate Aston Martin. I remember thinking, oh gosh, midlife crisis, here we come. But it really just cemented his sense of fun and wanting to enjoy life, the wind in his hair. The MG was eventually sold, and his interest, when out of the office, turned to wine, more specifically making it. The midlife became the good life. A hobby that grew over the years to come, and expanding from his own few vines on the back of Table Mountain in their Camps Bay home to his own proper little wine farm setup at their new home in Franschhoek. This became a passion he was able to share with Renske and Paul, his son-in-law, over the last few years. Harvest time was a special time when anyone visiting would be asked to get involved with picking and stomping, and tasting was free, but at your own risk. He was all about making memories and experiences, both at home and when working, enjoying life to the max, whether it was his daily walks in the CBD when our offices were in town, annual walks to Kruger with his sister, or family holidays. His memory box was full. He loved enjoying life through everyone else's eyes too, and wanted to share his experiences like overseas travels with as many as he could, family, customers, and staff. But boy, when you traveled with him, you needed stamina. He was the early riser, the last one standing, the instigator, and the capital F in fun. No time for usual 8 hours of sleep or a shower before dinner after a long day, and certainly no more than a Coke and a Tex when on the road between customers. He was a believer and an eternal optimist, comforting and reassuring. Don't worry, you've got this, he would tell me. To know that someone believed in me as much as he did was the most comforting feeling in sometimes the most uncertain times. And I will be forever grateful to have learned from the best and to have had 19 of possibly his best years in business. In closing, I would like to raise a glass. To Tara, you two are just the most formidable team together, in the office and out. Growing this business side by side like you did, and making such a huge success of it, is something that we are all so proud to be a part of today. Thank you. To Renske and Jorn, he was so proud of you guys and the businesswoman and businessman that you have become in your own careers. And listening to you both in business mode, it really is just like listening to him. And his legacy lives on in you guys. To the DFS team, we have lost a great leader, an inspiring mentor, a dear friend, and a father figure. But how fortunate were we to have had him captain the ship for as long as he did. Now is the time to continue this legacy in the business and industry he loved so much. I'm comforted by the fact that we are all exactly where he would have wanted us to be, and that we are on the road to greatness. And finally, to Bart, I thank you for the memories, and I will treasure them forever. We've got this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going off script here a little bit and butting in without saying that I would. But I think, well, I walked over here when Megan said in closing, and now she's almost made me cry. But I thought based on what Sean and Walter and Megan have said, I think it's only right that I quickly say a thank you on behalf of the family. I'm sure Renska and Mom will nod in a moment. It was, you all three gave an amazing expression and summary of who he was and what he did. And so thank you for that. And I was going to do this one Friday at DFS because it was easier than in front of a whole group of people. But I was very lucky that last November, I think it was November, Mom and Dad sold the house in Palabora, and there was a whole bunch of junk there, and a whole bunch of nice stuff, and we didn't want to let it, or at least some of it, go. So Dad and I drove up to go and empty the house and take what we wanted from it. And we did a few days in Kruger and came back down. So we spent, I can't remember now, but I think it's 60 odd hours in the car together, driving across South Africa, which was great. And obviously we covered a range of topics. And I remember quite clearly as we got into the Free State, the cow, cattle, meat area of South Africa, obviously the topic turned to meat and in turn turned to DFS. And I don't think he was very secretive about it, but I also don't know how expressive he was about it. So I thought I would just give everybody at DFS a little inside scoop on how he felt. And he said that he was incredibly proud of you guys, and that he felt that he obviously, together with all of you, had built an incredible team, and he named you all by name because he really felt that way about all of you, and he was so proud that you guys are going to carry the baton. And particularly to the three of you, also super proud that that you're gonna continue that legacy. And I just wanted to make sure you guys knew how he felt about you as well. Okay, so thanks. All right, we'll play the video. Thanks.
Wonderful, thank you.
Sunlight fell, it reminded me life can be so gracious sometimes. And I felt like everything around me was connected somehow. At night I hear the rhythm of the ocean as it breaks on the shore. And I think about all the things that I am grateful for. They say, hold on to the ones you love. Keep them close to you. They say, hold on to this time we have. Let the light shine through. Sometimes I get a little bit emotional when I see love unfold. Two hearts bound by reflections of memories they'll forever hold. They say, hold on to the ones you love. Keep them close to you. They say, hold on to this time we have, and let the light shine through. There are blessings all around you. Open up your eyes. Feel the sunlight fall upon you. Let it free your mind. There are blessings all around you. Take a step outside. Let your heart shine in a new light. See it come alive. They say, hold on to the ones you love. Keep them close to you. They say, hold on to this time we have. And let the light shine through. Sunlight fell, it reminded me life can be so gracious sometimes. And I felt like everything around me was connected somehow. At night I hear the rhythm of the ocean as it breaks on the shore. And I think about all the things that I am grateful for. They say, hold on to the ones you love. Keep them close to you. They say, hold on to this time we have. And let the light shine through. Sometimes I get a little bit emotional when I see love unfold. Two hearts bound by reflections of memories they'll forever hold.
Thank you everyone for being patient through it and enjoying the video with us and for our speeches. We're going to remember Bart today in a wonderful afternoon with some snacks and some drinks, and please do stay with us to enjoy it. Thank you.
Brilliant.